Hello fellow Scratchers, I'm Griffpatch and today we are talking about 2D landscape generation. Two examples of this that I'm better known for can be found in the games Paper Minecraft and Terraria Stamped. Both of these games are able to generate seemingly random yet exciting worlds out of tiled blocks, and I know a lot of you would love to know just how it was done. Well, this is the first video I've made on the subject, and what I want to do today is step you through the process I have used successfully in both of these games to really bring these virtual environments to life. Let's begin by taking a walk about a Paper Minecraft world. And here we are. Yes, it's Paper Minecraft, instantly recognisable from the classic Minecraft textures and the plain sky. Block size is quite large, 40 pixels square if I remember correctly, which means we see just 75 full tiles on the screen at once. View distance was always rather limited, but to counter this I added mouse look around so you can see a bit further ahead. So the basic surface of the terrain is made up of dirt blocks, topped with a single layer of grass. The ground is very flat, with just a few ups and downs here and there. On the grass grows the odd plant and, aha, a tree! Awesome! Wow, there's a lot of animals in this level. Ha, even spawning animals is an interesting subject of its own. Ah, a village. I can't tell you how funny it was when I first introduced the village house spawning eggs into Paper Minecraft. Being able to pop down a house, run away a bit, and watch a house pop out of nowhere was such a laugh. The level generation just made use of this, popping down a number of house eggs, and voila! A whole village is born. Okay now, so I've already dug a hole down here to show you the basic underground cave. Falling down, past some coal, oh, zombie. And we're down, and right away we have some lava. That's cool. I'm in creative mode, so I can safely explore. This is a naturally formed cave, typical in Paper Minecraft. Deep caves tend to have lava flows from the ceiling. The height of the cave is between 2 and 4 blocks, and it runs in any direction, even vertically for short periods. Okay. Oh, wow! We've stumbled upon a hidden dungeon area with its treasure chest, an unexpected treat for us. Oh, go on, let's snag the crown. Yeah, I rule. Okay then, so I'm thinking this is where the cave system ends. Right, time to turn on X-ray mode. That makes everything visible to us now. And, oh wow, the cave does actually continue on. But not for long. We hit bedrock. So, what I want you to notice is just how simple the level design underground is. It's mostly rock, scattered with patches of ores, and cut up here and there by wiggling cave systems. Added to this, we have the water and lava flows. A splattering of special level features, surface grass and trees. But mainly, what the Minecraft level is made up of is loads and loads of featureless rock. As we speed through, we find patches of ores, and these tend to be rough circles of various sizes. They can look a little odd when seen in X-ray mode, but as soon as the lighting engine comes on, they look quite natural. Right, so Minecraft levels don't have a lot more to them than this. Sure, it has biomes, and a few more surface mini-biomes like lakes and sand, but there's not a lot more to it. So, let's stop there and take a look at the more ambitious project, Terraria Stamped. Just like with Paper Minecraft, the game begins with a world generation phase, and the levels are generated in much the same way. However, the scale of the world is far more detailed. You can see right away that the tile size is so much smaller. These tiles are just 8 by 8 pixels. You could fit 25 of these inside a single Paper Minecraft block. What's more, there are actually 5 layers of tiles: a background, a wall, a liquid tile, a foreground tile, and a brightness tile. This leads us to having to draw almost 3,000 tiles for every screen. Remember, in Paper Minecraft, we only needed 75 to do the same job. So yeah, this is way, way more demanding. And that is why Terraria Stamped could not be a scrolling game. But this extra detail means we get to see the level generation in far more detail, which is why I wanted to focus on this engine as I describe how everything works. As you can see, we again have a mainly dirt-based ground layer, but due to the smaller block size, the slope, or curve of the ground, is more pronounced. Grass is growing on the edges of dirt, but isn't limited to the top blocks like in Minecraft, it also grows on the edges and bottoms of tiles too. What does grow on the top are the extra grass shoots and flowers, and also these marvellous trees. Talking of which, I want to show you the exciting cave that I can see here below me, so I need some wood to make a torch. Let's chop down a tree. Okay, I'll craft a few torches. And off we go. Place a torch, and look at how the light spreads outwards. I love that. Have you watched my pathfinding tutorial? There's a link under this video, because the spread of light here follows exactly the same rules as the pathfinding scripts, so you might want to watch that again and see if you can see why this might be. Now, do you see how we have vines growing down from the roof of caves? That is so cool, right? And also we have wall tiles underground, behind me, hiding the sky. This makes the underworld much more atmospheric. The cave wiggling walls are well defined here, and you can see some stone showing through too. Okay, before we get deeper into this cave, let me just take you back to the surface and finish exploring that. We should find a small lake. Each level has a lake and a cave to be found. Yeah, here it is. And oh wow, I can see an awesome cave just under the surface too. And yeah, this is as far as the level goes. Sadly, unlike with Paper Minecraft, we can't skip off to another biome by walking off the edge of the level. Gosh, this is just too tempting. I am going to break through the floor of this lake. Mwahaha! I love these sandbox simulations. Oh no! Oh, the fishy! Help them! I don't have a net to catch them with. Oh phew, it's okay, he's safe. Panic over. Right, now that we have seen the surface, let's pull up our Terraria map. Yes, we have a map in Terraria. Just press F, and there we go. The cross marks where we are right now. Okay, this is really useful, as we can see the shape of the terrain. Do you see the undulating curves of the grass? What remains of the dugout lake, and the beginnings of the cave system to the right. Even the tree stumps are nicely visible. Now if I switch into creative mode and bring back the map, and this is why I wanted to use the project to explain level generation. Now we can see everything. Every pixel on this screen is a tile in the game world. That is a lot of tiles, yes, over 100,000 of them. So what are the main components that make up a Terraria map? We have solid land and sky. The land has a peaceful up and down curve going on, but then here and there are small bites taken out of it for interest. A larger bite on the surface is filled with water, or at least it was before I drained it. Ignoring the caves for a moment and looking behind them, you'll see the top third of the ground is mostly dirt, with a splattering of large stone blobs. But from 2/3 down it reverses and the ground is stone with splashes and streaks of dirt. Breaking all of this up, we have the caves. And notice the crazy shapes they appear in, like blobs, slashes, zigzags, vertical and horizontal and all over the place, some wide, some narrow. It looks crazy, but this is what makes exploring the game so exciting. You just can't predict it. After this, all that remains are the mainly smaller dots of ores and gems, the areas of water, how could I forget these, and these quite exciting underground abandoned houses for you to stumble across deeper underground. Okay, come on, before I let you in on the secret of how this was generated, let's just check out what it looks like deeper down underground. Back into the cave. And now, in creative mode, I can dig really fast. Let's go straight down. It's getting dark, so I'll place a torch. The light leaks through quite a few layers of dirt before it fades out. Oh cool, we've broken through into a cave. Yeah, look, here we are on the map. See my new tunnel? Looks like this isn't a very big cave, but it's a cute little ecosystem with water and a squirrel. Ha! Right, back up we go. Exploring these caves is quite dangerous when you start out in Terraria. It's better to build yourself a safe house to begin with on the surface. Die, slime! Ah, nice. An underground chest. These contain cool booty. I'll take that boomerang. Notice we've reached a depth in the level where the background wall has been replaced by an underground theme. We can no longer place torches on this, which makes things a bit harder. Yeah, these larger vertical drops are very difficult to climb back up when we start out in survival mode. Do you see how exciting the cave system is? I think it's far more fun to explore than the more simple Minecraft caves, but as far as world generation, they are actually done very similarly. This is just on a grander scale. Now at this depth, the green vines stop growing, and we will see no more grass, but ores become more common. We do have to watch out for more difficult mobs too though, and it's a lot further to get back up to the surface if anything goes wrong. Hey, just look at the shape of this cave. Isn't it complicated and cool looking? Can you even imagine how this could be generated randomly and automatically? It's hard to believe, but it wasn't actually as difficult as you may think. Now watch this. Let me turn on X-ray mode. Wow, and everything is revealed. Now the interesting thing here is how flat everything suddenly looks. And although the cave is still pretty awesome in detail, it no longer looks quite so impressive. Here, let me toggle back and forward a few times. Do you see how much the lighting transforms a game like this? And look, flying over here, you can vividly see the horizontal line that separates the dirt biome from the lower stone biome. And look how circular these stone areas are. And this small cave too, very circular. Just remember that for now. Okay, the map continues down this way. Let's go deeper. Rushing down now. Oh man, these cobwebs even slow me down in creative. I should get out my sword. Okay, we've hit some big water now. Calculating water levels in Terraria is a lot more intensive than in Paper Minecraft, but also a lot more fun. Don't ask me to teach you that for a while, okay? Right, I think we are at the bottom of the major cave system. Now we need to make our own way deeper underground. Let's go over and see one of those abandoned houses. Yeah, I love that as we dig out this stone, the water level behind us drops. It's so cool. And here we go. My, what a boring little abode. Just a barrel inside. Often they have a bit more than this. Can we find another? This one perhaps. Of course, in the real game, in survival mode, finding these places can be really tricky and very fun indeed. Look, we have a clock, 2 anvils and a dresser. These would be very useful for decorating your own homes up on the surface. Notice these houses are complete with back walls too. These need to be removed using the hammer tool. Okay, before I conclude my little tour, just take a look again at the shapes of the ores and caves and pretty much everything we come across. Do you see it? Circles. Circles everywhere, just of different sizes and randomness. So, I keep pointing out circles. Why is that? You'll soon see, because it's time to learn how we generate these awesome worlds. Well, to explain the basic idea, I'm going to load up the Terraria world map into my handy paint package. If I zoom right in, you can see that each coloured pixel here represents one tile of the game, be it a brown dirt tile or a grey stone tile. This tile data, as you might have guessed, is stored in our Scratch game in a grid list. Look up my tutorial on grid lists if you want to know more. There's a link under the video. What you should realise though is how creating a map is much like painting a picture. We just need to know the steps to take and the order to do them in. So although in this tutorial I'm not going to teach the Scratch coding today, we will be looking at all the steps. After all, to code something up, first you have to understand exactly what you are trying to code. Once you can do the drawing by hand, then you can reproduce the same actions using scripts and automation. We can start by filling the entire world with dirt and stone, like so. This would just require us to fill a Scratch list with 1s and 0s, say. That was the easy bit. Now, you might think the next step would be to draw the sky, but actually it's better to keep that until much later. Instead, we address the fact that these blocks of colour are looking a bit too perfect. If we reference our original map, we can see that the dirt biome still has many smaller stone areas, and the lower stone biomes also have longer veins of dirt. So how do we generate these organic patterns? Now you may be thinking, Perlin noise or some other clever mathematical technique would be the answer. And wow, yes, we could do that. And it would be awesome. However, if there is a way of getting close to the same results in a simpler way, then I'm all for trying that out. And what I've actually done is much simpler to understand than all that math wizardry. Let's zoom in and take a look at the lower region first, and hone in on that dirt that appears within the stone. Do you see how it forms thin, wiggly patterns? I can take a small circular pen in my paint package, and starting at one end, trace a zigzagging line. Yes, can you see how I can reproduce a very similar pattern? Remember how I kept drawing your attention to the circular nature of some of these ore veins? Well, this is why. This is the secret to my world generation. Drawing scribbles using a circular pen, just in a controlled and yet random fashion. Here, let me demonstrate. Using the dirt colour, I pick a pen size, this round pen, and then, picking a random start position, I draw a zigzagging scribble, adjusting my pen size too if I want to as I go. Once we have enough dirt veins, we stop. Ta-da! Of course, the question you may be wondering is, how in Scratch do we draw a thick line into a grid list? I think best not to worry too much about that right now. But if you can figure out how to paint a filled circle of tiles, Pythagoras is your friend here, and then do this over and over again down a set path, then you'll be well on your way. So what about the upper dirt layer? Well, this one has scribbles of stone. Only the ones towards the surface are really small and short, and the ones lower down, well, they become longer and much more bunched up, like they are scribbled all over themselves. Let's draw those in next. Now, the variety of scribble styles makes things feel a lot more natural, as finally there are a scattering of stone blobs using a smaller pen size, but these don't follow any longer paths, but remain small, even at lower depths. So, we continue the theme by adding in the various ores. These come in varying amounts at different depths, but are almost always just small smudged circles of colour that we splatter around in bands around the map. Right, next up we are creating the caves. And once more, it's going to be a matter of creating some epic scribbles. Only this time, using an eraser rather than a pen to allow us to remove the areas of solid rock and ore. So draw with the empty tile. Our scribbles are diverse, at times much thicker than before, but also changing size frequently. They also zigzag quite violently at times, and even move up and down as they go, just mainly downwards as a rule. It's worth noting that these cave routes often cross over each other, forming much more exciting caving patterns than the single zigzags could on their own. Then, as a rule, each level adds one far larger cave that begins at the top of the world, breaking the surface, and travels downwards, again in a zigzagging pattern. But we ensure it runs deep and very long. This adds a lot of excitement to the level, as the player has the option to adventure deep into the game, perhaps even before they are ready to do so. But the choice remains theirs. Now wow, we are almost there, so it's definitely time to draw in the sky. The majority of this is easy, we just remove a large rectangle of the upper dirt. But, well, that leaves the surface too straight. We want this biome to contain that pleasant undulating hills that we are so used to walking upon at spawn. For this, we will borrow a simple mathematical sine curve. Only to avoid being bored to death, we can combine a couple of curves together to make something a bit more interesting. This ends up cutting a nice shape, something like this, across our landscape. Cool. Can you see now why we did this last? Because this way it allows us to easily cut across any of our painted ore patterns cleanly. If we'd done this first, all these extra ores would have stuck out above the surface. So we are on the home stretch now. At this point, we want to add in the more scripted structures like underground abandoned houses, or in Minecraft, that dungeon. The trick here is to be able to scan the map for cave areas of sufficient size to contain the structures, and then just to place it there, and make the required adjustments to meld it into the surroundings. Next, we transform any dirt tiles that were on the surface into grass. It's at this point that the drawing with a paint package reaches the limit of its usefulness. So, sticking with the map, we see that further to just planting grass on the surface, we then need to cycle our grass growing code to extend the grass around connecting tiles. I love this code so much, because if you watch it sped up, it also causes grass on the underside of the tiles to sprout vines, and these in turn drop down new grass onto the tiles below. Oh, it's so cool. In this way, the whole upper biome can seem to spring into life. Oh yeah, and we also grow a few trees on the grassy surface. Then we have the Reskin step. This step doesn't exist in Paper Minecraft, but in Terraria it makes a huge difference. Without this, our level looks like, this. The small tiles need their costumes switching around to make them all connect together the right way. If you have watched my Mario tile scrolling tutorials on automatic tile arranging, then that pretty much explains how this process works. Yeah, I'll leave a link under the video. And then, just when you thought the hard work was done, along comes water. Oh gosh, I love water. It's just so fun to simulate and play around with. But oh man, we are not even going to touch this today. Let's just check out the map and see how the water sits. I hope it's enough to say that we just need to pick a number of random areas on the map and programmatically pour a volume of water from each point, flowing it downwards until it reaches a local minima, that is, it can't flow down any further, and then begin the process of filling and flowing until the water is all accounted for. What you want to end up with is a number of distributed, natural-looking, flat-topped pools of water. And with that, apart from adding a splattering of chests and other loot, the level generation is complete. All that remains is for us to illuminate the sky and run the light flow algorithm to pretty the whole thing up. Just remember that a level can contain over 100,000 tiles, so be prepared for some epic computation time. And there we go. That covers the entire manual level generation. Now, the next step would be to work our way through each of these phases of generation and make scripts that do just the same thing. In a lot of ways, it was the scale of the Terraria game that made it an immensely fun challenge to tackle in Scratch, and I enjoyed the challenge thoroughly. Generating the Minecraft worlds turns out to be a lot easier, but nearly all the main strategies remain the same. If you want to make the surface biomes more exciting, then perhaps we might consider investing more time in implementing the mathematics of Perlin noise, but for our needs, this far simpler approach does us very well. Sometimes simple is better when coding with blocks. Overall, I think the similarity of the Terraria Stamped level with the original Terraria game is testament to the effectiveness of these techniques. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and that you might have learnt something useful along the way. This has been a very different video since we've not even placed a single block of code. Even so, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to catch the next exciting and informative video. Next week we'll do some real scratching, but not on level generation I suspect. If we do tackle this, you can tell it will need a lot of episodes, and I'm not even sure I'm quite ready to tackle that myself. So until next time, have a very pleasant week ahead, and scratch on, guys.